In this video, I'm going to talk about the new SSG10 line of sniper rifles by Novritsch. I will talk about the externals and the internals, and I'm going to focus really heavily on the internals because I'm a gun tech and that's what I know. About the externals, I have a special guest here, Josef from Novritsch Tactical, and he has used both the SSG10 and the SSG24. He has a better idea of what's new about this rifle, the pros and cons when it comes to using it. So let's start by him.
Hey, what's up everybody? Thanks Ian for the introduction. Like he said, I'm gonna be talking about the ergonomics and how the gun feels a little bit. So let's start with the basic version right here. Is the SSG A1. It's pretty lightweight considering I have the bipod there and the scope on the top. It feels much slimmer than the old SSG because the handguard, or not handguard, the stock actually here when you grab it, this is way fatter than this one. So I prefer actually how this feels in the hand. The stock is very lightweight. I like that fact. Feels good in the hand. Nothing is wobbling. It's pretty solid. I like the bolt handle. Okay, we forgot to put the pin in there. I like that the bolt handle is 90 degrees out of the box because your hand is not touching the scope at all. So that's completely fine. And we maybe have some BBs in there. Should probably check that. Okay, it's empty. The grooves, just like we are used to on Novritsch guns. Nothing wrong with that, really personal preference. The main advantage of this gun is that it's very lightweight. I like that. If you are all about efficiency, if you don't care about the QDs, M-locks and all the good stuff that usually people like, if you don't care, if you just want to run on the field, I consider this to be the perfect option. It's also the cheapest, so it's just fine. It's just fine. It's accurate, but I'm gonna leave that part to Yen. Moving on, the SSG is the second most expensive rifle right now. I've been using it for 1.5 years. It's been a good performer. I don't really have any big issues with that. Like I said, the stock is a little bit beefy. At first I had to get used to that because I was using the L96. This one, the grip angle is definitely a lot different. The bolt handle, as you can see, it's actually quite close to the scope, meaning that the scope gets in the way of your hand. And actually, if I would go forward now, I would actually grind my knuckles. So that's not really the best thing. I immediately exchange the stock bolt handle. Yeah, it's not that pleasant to use. Bolt pull is, I would consider this to be pretty smooth. It's just fine. Nothing wrong with that. There are no BBs. Yeah, the grooves, actually the barrel looks pretty good. The grooves are deeper, they are more aggressive, I would say. Again, that's a personal preference. It's definitely much more heavy than the SSG10 A1. Is that a good thing? I'm not sure. If you, like I said, if you are all about efficiency, you probably would prefer the lighter gun. This piece right here, I would rather not have it because it just adds to the overall weight of the gun. You know, there is two steel rods running through the stock, this huge adjustment wheel. Not a big fan. I mean, I don't really care about the length as long as it's comfortable and it's just fine like it is. I prefer not having it like on the SSG10 rifles. Here you can actually make it longer by putting spacers in there. Overall, feels good. The texture is a little bit more rough. I like that. Obviously the stock is way heavier. Feels solid, nothing is wobbling. Yeah, nothing wrong with this rifle at all. Moving on to the last one, the SSG A2. The stock, I would say it's just as heavy as the SSG24. I really like the angle of the grip. It's just much more comfortable. It's like AR-15 style angle almost. Your trigger finger rests nicely on the trigger, that's fine. We get the bolt handle, that is 90 degrees. It's a different bolt handle than the A1 version, but in terms of function, I mean, it's just fine. Bolt pull is pretty smooth. I like the rubber in the front. It's pretty grippy. I enjoy that. It's pretty nice. Here in the front, it's really flat. It's this dimension is pretty good. I like that. Here, if you are not used to beefy guns, I mean, it has some width to it. Again, nothing wrong with that necessarily, but it's very subjective. You know, maybe if you are not used to that, it will take you some time to get used to it, how beefy it is. It's just a big piece of a rifle. The barrel, solid, nothing is moving. Grooves are a little less deep than the SSG24. Cylinder, pretty good, nothing wrong with that. As I said, I really enjoyed this angle. Adjustability here, you have the QD mounts, here. This is a fancy rifle for all the tech heads out there and tactical guys. This is a very solid choice. It's pretty good. It's definitely better than the SSG24, and I mean the internals are the same. Gonna leave that up to Jan, but the stock definitely feels more solid. It's zero flags, nothing. And you get M-locks under this cover. There is M-lock slots, so you can put any accessories there that you might want. Yeah, did I miss anything?
All good.
All good? Yeah,
Same.
Overall, it's pretty good. The grip is the best.
So now that the externals and tactics and preference about them is all done by Josef, thanks again. I'm going to move down to the gut of the gun, which is the part that I know best. So to start out, it is still what people call VSR10 based gun, and there are problems. I'm going to be honest, there are problems that come with the original design that you can't really solve it without making any radical changes. Like magazine is difficult to remove. It's not a one-piece receiver like so many people ask about. But in this video I will talk about how you can make this rifle into a decent one-piece receiver. So I start with the cylinder. This is my favorite part of this gun. They really spare no expense at making this thing. It's stainless steel, and stainless steel on the inside. I'm gonna open it up. See, this is just a nice solid piece of stainless steel. This is the stock piston. It's not light, around 40 to 50 grams. Stainless steel sears, Teflon guide rings, cup seal.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing that it's not light?
It's a good thing. Especially if you are into buying a sniper rifle, you should be shooting BBs heavier than 0.36 grams. And for that you want a heavy piston that can overcome the pressure buildup caused by a heavy BB and the more pressure you apply on your whole pop. So you want that. You don't want a light piston with this. But then again, there is actually space. If you want to shoot ceramic BBs out of it, you can add weight to it. But there's absolutely, I see no need of switching this piston. It's perfectly fine. Spring guide, again, solid stainless steel. I would prefer one with a bearing on it. That's personal preference. But it works just fine. Cylinder is probably one of the best you can get. I'm not talking about, not just saying it's good out of the box, I'm saying the best you can buy aftermarket. I have touched several aftermarket cylinders, and what happens, they might be shiny, they might be looking fancy, but this cut, what normally happens in the cylinder, will expand a little bit out. And I don't know what the technique they use here, but that problem is totally solved on this cylinder. I can pop it into the gun. A normal cylinder, it will be smooth until this cut reaches the guide ring, but this one is smooth all the way in and out. You can't feel it. If this cylinder group is sold as aftermarket group, as an aftermarket part, it still would be considered one of the best, at least. Move forward, well, you still have the two classic guide rings inside the rifle, front and back. Not too much of a fan, but it is what it is. It's very difficult to make improvement without designing a new receiver, and I have a receiver right here. It may look just like another VSR10 receiver, but it's not. If you see the marks on the inside, it's actually, even though this is injection molded, but it's actually machined out on the inside, so it's straight. It's not, you cannot see the injection seams anymore. It's machined out. You have an O-ring here at the tip, so your barrel will be less likely to come loose, and that will help you a lot when I'm going to talk about how to transform this into a one-piece receiver, one piece. But if you disassemble the gun a lot, it can be a nuisance. You just used to super easily unscrew the barrel and suddenly you can't. Now to this part, this is where there are a lot of myths and fiction. Also what people, the techs care more. This is hole-pop chamber. At first glance, I know a lot of people is gonna say it looks like crap. It's a two-piece design. Everybody wants the Action Army hole-pop chamber, the red one. You know what I'm talking about. But honestly, I'm going to point out why this one is perfectly fine. I would even say it's better than a lot of people with their Action Armies. The Action Army hole-pop has one problem, is the arm doesn't come with a nub. It's up to you to choose a nub. And a lot of people choose wrong. Well, this rifle here, the arm is, well, one piece. You just basically get arm with it. I'm going to open this up and show you what I'm talking about. Before that, there's also the issue of the classic, the out-of-box VSR10s is this arm here. People complain about them flexing a little bit. So that's why people do the TDC mod. But it's not the same case here. This arm, even though it's still plastic, but it does get a stainless steel sleeve right here. It acts as a roller and it adds rigidity. Also, this slot and this slot back here is actually machined out, so they are perfectly leveled, supports on the road on both sides. So it's actually kind of like a TDC. I do not see a reason to change this. Let's open it up. And now the gun does not come with a Maple Leaf Crazy Jet. I know people love that barrel. I don't know why, because the theory behind the Crazy Jet does not work. Say whatever you want, it doesn't work. I compare that barrel to like a $3 aftermarket brass barrel. It's exactly the same. It just difference is the crown. Any barrel, if it's clean, you take good care of it and shoot good ammo, it's gonna be good. Okay, now let's pull this open. Okay, here we go. So this is not the stock bucking, because well, if it was up to me, I would have straight up R-hop this thing, but I'm still into the process of, I'm willing to try, and people have speak good of the Maple Leaf Miracle bucking, the MR hop. And I can see why people like it. It kind of just looks like R-hop patch on the inside. So it stays for now. I don't like the material, that's why I do R-hops. I can choose the material for the hop, but for now it stays.
Why is it in the gun?
In the gun because, well, the stock barrel is compatible. It fits the Maple Leaf bucking perfectly. And I'm curious how this is gonna play out. Inside the gun you get a Maple Leaf
Autobot 60.
Autobot 60 bucking. That works just fine. Honestly, when I got this gun, I got the A1 version with M160 spring shooting close to 3 joules, which is very sweet. It air sealed out of the box. The accuracy was good enough for me to enjoy the sniper room. Is it gonna be as good as a well-tuned gun with all the fancy stuff? No, it's not. I will be honest, it won't be. But is it? So if somebody buys it and go play and enjoy sniping, yeah, certainly it give you that. If you don't know tagging and you want a gun that allows you to play as a sniper, yeah, it will give you that ability.
For the money.
For the money, especially for the money. For the money, actually, you can build one better. Back to the whole pop, you can see the arm is one piece, and this is a nub, and this is a very big contact area, and you press down the nub, so you get a big, nice contact area with a BB when it passes through. That's why the adjustability is small, but it's definitely enough. It can lift out of the box 4.5. That's the heaviest I have tested, but the whole pop was at the middle one. With a flat trajectory to shoot 0.45, so I'm certain it can lift heavier BBs. The barrel is a shiny brass barrel out of the box. The stock length is 430. I also have the G-Spec version, and this one is, I took the stock 430, I cut it down for the G-Spec barrel. Is it aftermarket? This thing.
The short one.
The short one.
Yes.
It's for the add-on short barrel. And I will explain why. So very conveniently, what I didn't like the G-Spec, I mean I liked G-Spec, but the problem is the suppressor is so hard to get a good adapter to switch to the suppressor of your choice, and they really solve that. So out of the box you get an end cap that has an O-ring inside, just like the Maple Leaf aftermarket barrels. Auto barrels end caps. It has O-ring to stabilize the barrel. It also comes with a spacer inside, and even this cap here, this adapter, which is great, is 14mm counterclockwise. Put on whatever suppressor you want, it will fit, and it's also ringed. It also has the O-ring inside, and that allows me to, if I use this barrel comes right at the tip, which means when I test air seal, I just put my finger over there and test air seal. Okay, back to the gun. Move that aside. About the adjustment, well, it's a clicking design so far. It works great. The BB, none of my shots were curving, so good for that. Now this is the part that I might consider replacing or modifying. This is the trigger. It's a 90-degree solid steel trigger set. It will last you forever. So how it works is when you cock the gun, this lever goes straight downwards. So it's good when you don't have that tiny bit of movement from traditional 90-degree triggers, that this thing folds backwards, then goes forward. So you have to pull the bolt backwards more, locks, then release a tiny bit. People claim this gives extra power. Maybe. That's not why I like it. I like it because it's simple, but if you use this gun to high power, this does have a disadvantage. So this is a contact point, the sear between the piston sear and the trigger. What happens when I pull the trigger is this area just rubs against each other, and when you have a heavy spring, it's not very hard to pull, but you need quite a lot of force to pull it. And this trigger design really is made for the A2 version. For the A2 version, you have your hand straight and you rest your finger directly on the flat trigger design, which is modern and it looks cool. But personally, I like this one, it's light, but this is really for a round trigger, because when I see my finger angle coming on this direction, so I was using, when I switched to M180 spring, it kind of hurts my fingers after playing a while. So what I'm trying to do by myself is I take one of the triggers, I'm trying to add a roller right here. That would make this trigger box perfect. Just still two moving parts, but that roller is gonna improve, at least hopefully, the feeling of the trigger. Now, back to the topic of the one-piece receiver. One-piece receiver is like the holy grail of a lot of people that knows VSR, what they want, but not always can afford. Now this gun, this is my stock receiver, the shorter barrel, but stock. But see this, it does not flex, does not rotate, doesn't do anything. And if I thread the barrel, this is actually also aftermarket, this is a street flute. And you can see it's tough to screw it down because of the O-ring. But even though there is an O-ring, this thing still flex, still moves. And the the VSR10 stock, not really the most rigid one for you to rest two crucial pieces in. But this O-ring allows you to do something. You can now safely epoxy these two parts together, because the O-ring will keep it straight. When you glue it, just hang it, you're gonna cure just straight, it won't leak out, and you won't even miss this hole. You just put your internals in, do not forget the gathering. If you miss that, you never get that out. So if you really want it cool, you can 3D print if you have the access. The sleeve that is about this length with the inner diameter of this cylinder, make sure it's slide free, and the outer diameter of this tube. You put them together, you put in your cylinder, and you screw it back, applying epoxy in there. Rotate until the barrel aligned at that hole with the correct depth. You let it cure, because you know it's gonna be aligned, because the cylinder is there helping to guide these two parts. And once it dries, this is what you get, a poor man's one-piece receiver that is as good as, I would say, aftermarket receiver. There's no way this is going anywhere. And you can see the sleeve I'm using. Inside you have the gathering, then you have the 3D printed sleeve. And there you go, and I'm gonna show you how smooth this setup can get. I won't even put any weight in the cylinder, just gonna close it up. Just like that. No, and it's not moving, it's not shaking anywhere, no play in it. Just there you go. Now the question, is that a good gun? Absolutely. I think it's because back then I didn't like the SSG24 all that much. It's heavy, it's bulky, and the hop-up design it doesn't use a maple leaf bucking. It still uses a normal-ish bucking. It's expensive. It's a good quality gun, but it's really expensive in my opinion. For that money, you can actually build a decent VSR10. And then the VSR10 is going to be lighter, and you probably will have a better hop-up system. Now this one here, from what I've seen, you really can't get better for the price of the cheapest one. For that price, you can't even build it cheaper. Just the cylinder group, the whole thing, this is gonna run you probably 50 euros above aftermarket. The 90-degree trigger plus the piston set, that's gonna be at least 100 more. And just these two things is like more than half the price of the gun. Then you still get the maple leaf bucking, you still get this hop-up chamber, in my opinion, is as good as a maple leaf. I think I would even dare to say this is better than the maple leaf aftermarket chamber. And that's another 30 to 40, maybe 50, depends where you live. Where I live, that thing costs 50 euros. So that's already 200 bucks. And you don't have this barrel. If you want this barrel, yes, they are aftermarket, you just pay more. So when you add all that up, plus the travel, and you may not be experienced enough to put them all together, tune it. And this gun is tuned, put it together with some unique features for a price that is unbeatable. And before, like when my friends saying, okay, I want a sniper rifle, I don't usually suggest get SSG. And as I say, they don't have problem with the money and they are really dumbfold and able to set up a rifle, I say get SSG. Otherwise, I just guide them to build their own VSR. And this one here is from what I'm gonna send my friends towards. So from now on, it's just so easy. Even you don't like it, play with different hop-up buckings. The chamber is perfectly fine. If somebody tell you otherwise, well, can let's say the Action Army chamber be slightly better in terms of air seal? Can be. It can be. It's CNC. It's more. It is precise. It's more precise because this is still cast piece. It's a two-piece design that, even though I'm not very fond of, but in this particular case, it works just fine. I'm not. I mean, this may not be 100% circular, maybe, but in terms of applying the hop straight without giving the BB curve and be able to lift heavy BBs, this works just fine. And it seals. It seals pretty good. I know there are people who tap their barrel and wait like a minute to see if there's still air. Don't do that. Do that for a second. If the second after there's still a clear pulp left, yes, that gun, you will not lose visible FPS or meter by second with the air seal. And every system leaks. It's just, it matter or not, in the fraction of a second the BB when it's still inside. The cylinder can get better. I can't find a better that I say it's better aftermarket part. Nope. Stainless steel, doesn't rust, tough as a rock. Tougher than a rock actually. So the thread, strong thread, won't strip. The back piece thread and pinned. You never have to worry about this in getting loose. I know people sometimes like the Teflon coated cylinders. Teflon coating, any coating, is going to wear out. You won't wear out this. Personally, would I upgrade this gun? Still, yeah, I might put a spring guide with a bearing on it. I just like the idea of it. I know I have observed personally this spring rotates when you compress them, and I do think they make your gun slightly more quiet. Yeah, and I might you already sent this back piece, so this thing is a little bit tighter, but it's a mass production gun. Some one will be more wobbly than the others, not the end of the world. And I think that's pretty much it. I would say it definitely deserves the title of the best out of the box sniper rifle, for sure. Can you still tune it? Yes, like any system. A mass products will not be as good as a custom made one, for sure. Now when it comes to one side note though, in terms of the scope. Pick a scope with a good eye relief and clear glass. That doesn't mean it's expensive, but do that. The eye relief is super important. And use heavy BBs, good heavy BBs. I also did get the A2 version because I find it very cool, and you can't really get this for a Barton, and I only bought Bartons before because the magazine switch, the Maple Leaf version, the Maple Leaf one, this is a Maple Leaf stock, but the aftermarket Maple Leaf you buy, they are for TMs, and you will know this little switch has a plate. So if you take the aftermarket, the stock that is for VSR 10, and you apply it to it won't work, but it works here, so that's nice. But I also got this because I'm trying the full thrust system with it. I can't make a comment on it yet, but I did make a lot of modifications to this one already. I have the shorter barrel, the rest is just internally suppressed. I did R-hop the thing, and I did switch out the hop-up chamber because this is not very R-hop friendly. Because when you have the maple leaf buckings, the nub of the bucking is actually connected to the front sealing surface and it's unbridged. And if you apply a R-hop patch there, you have the nozzle sometimes damages the thing. And I wanted to use a bridged barrel, and I need a further downwards window. That's why I changed the chamber. Otherwise, wouldn't have spent the extra 50 euros aftermarket chamber. About the gun, it's heavy. That's my only complaint. But this is perfect if you want a one-piece receiver and a free float barrel, because it actually bolts down to the receiver at this screw right here. So you can ignore this screw. You just bolt the receiver on these 2 points. You can even send it out the front support for the barrel. So the barrel, you know, when you have a one-piece receiver, that is free float. You just tie these 2 parts down and it will be always in line. There will not be any stress bending the barrel. Love the handle. Modern looking, 90 degrees. I do like the stock handle as well. It folds down. It doesn't protrude that much to the gun, but this does look very tactical. And since I never had a gun that is tactical, I just always aimed for pure efficiency. I thought I just get this one as well. Also, yeah, the trigger just feels a lot more natural on this one. It's really designed for this stock and doesn't hurt your waist. The VSR system is more forward, really not meant to grab it, but this one you can really grab it, place your finger and shoot it like a precision rifle. The weight, not a fan. I'm not the strongest guy on the field, so. But otherwise, it's also a very, very good rifle. It is quite a bit more expensive than the stock one. This will not be what I recommend to directly to people that want to start sniping. This is, in my opinion, half action, half collector piece. Even if you don't play this, it looks good. But when it comes to play, I can't really tell you advantage of it. Apart from it's comfortable to hold. For me, it's not comfortable here in the front. It's just too wide. It's too heavy. And I don't really like to scratch it because of the price tag. It's 200 bucks more than the stock version. With basically just look better. Looks matters, but for 200 bucks, if looks matter, I'm gonna preserve the look. I won't just throw it on a rock. I won't climb a tree with it. No. I have this more like a research base. As I said, I'm trying out full thrust. I will try other stuff. This is more like something that I tune and shoot at home.